Now let us learn about second property of skew-symmetric matrices. The second property says something like this, that in a skew-symmetric matrix, all the elements above and below the principal diagonal are equal, but in opposite sign. So this definition is quite clear. This particular definition is quite clear from definition itself. From definition itself, this concept is very much clear, that in a skew-symmetric matrix all the elements above and below the principal diagonal. Now all the elements, instead of saying all the elements, add all the corresponding elements, all the corresponding elements above and below the principal diagonal are equal but in opposite sign. Okay, so if the sign of the first element is plus, then the sign of the corresponding element will be minus, and if the sign is minus, then the other element sign will be plus. Okay, so let me tell you with the help of an example. So this is the principal diagonal, okay, this is the principal diagonal of this skew-symmetric matrix. Okay, and all the elements above and below. So above the principal diagonal A, so corresponding element below the principal diagonal minus A. Okay, this element corresponds to this. So below the diagonal principal diagonal B, above the principal diagonal minus B, below the principal diagonal minus C, above the principal diagonal plus C. Okay, and below the principal diagonal minus A, above the principal diagonal plus A. Okay, so they are equal, but sign is opposite. This is plus, so this is minus. This is plus, so this is minus. This is minus, so this is plus. Okay, so the sign is opposite. And how to imagine this? Just imagine that there is a mirror over here. Imagine that there is a mirror placed at the principal diagonal. Let us assume that there is a mirror placed at the principal diagonal. Then how will be the mirror images? The mirror image of this will be over here, mirror image of this will be over here, and mirror image of this will be over here if we place a mirror over here. Okay, so those are the corresponding elements opposite to the principal diagonal. What corresponding elements? Corresponding elements on opposite side. Corresponding elements on opposite sides of principal diagonal. Okay, on opposite sides of principal diagonal. Okay, so this element and this element, these are corresponding elements on opposite side of principal diagonal. These and these are corresponding elements on opposite sides of principal diagonal. These and these are corresponding elements on opposite sides of principal diagonal. Okay, so they are opposite in sign. They are what? They are equal, but they are opposite in sign. In magnitude they are equal, but they are opposite in sign. So it is written that are equal but in opposite sign. They are equal in magnitude wise they are equal, but they have opposite sign. So this is the second property of skew-symmetric matrices. This was the second property of skew-symmetric matrices. We will learn about the third property in the next class. Okay, so this was second property of skew-symmetric matrices. In the lecture prior to this, I have already explained first property of skew-symmetric matrices. Okay, in the lecture prior to this, I have already explained the first property of skew-symmetric matrices. Now in this lecture, I have discussed second property of skew-symmetric matrices, and in the next lecture, I am going to cover third property of skew-symmetric matrices. Okay, so thank you very much.